Hello, everybody. Welcome to Optimism Fractal. We're here with our 11th event today. I'm here pleased to be with Rosmari and Tadas and Hodlon and BitBeckers and Christina as well. Thanks for joining us, Christina. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And thanks everybody for joining us here on the call on the Optimism Fractal meeting. We're about to jump into the Respect game. First, I'm going to give a little presentation to share what we've been up to lately at Optimism Fractal and what we'll be doing soon. If anyone wants to wave or say a quick hello, then feel free as always. But otherwise, I'll jump into the presentation, give everybody an overview. And hey, Vlad, welcome, fellow Optimistics team member over here. All right, so Optimism Fractal, you can learn more at optimismfractal.com. Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration and awarding public goods creators and optimism. We are growing optimism together and hope you'll join us. We have weekly events every Monday at 17 UTC. It's an awesome place to meet optimists, collaborate with talented innovators, and grow thriving communities. And each week we play a profoundly helpful condensed game called the Respect game. You can find more at the link over here. Basically, each participant shares what they're doing to help optimism for a few minutes, and then we all collaborate to reach consensus on each other's contributions, and then everybody who reaches consensus receives a soulbound token called Respect. It's also an awesome place to promote your work. You get to share your work. Each person gets a chance to speak. And then also we produce videos each week that's on the Optimism Fractal website as well as YouTube. And so it's a great way to promote what you're doing to help optimism and grow optimism with an awesome community. We also have tools built on the OP stack because during these games we play with the OP mainnet, and we have some really great apps that developers like Tadas and Vlad have built to make it really fun and easy to play these games and to evaluate impact and so forth. While we're at these meetings, you can RSVP and click the link and explore optimismfractal.com to learn more. We also post our weekly reminders and weekly posts on the Optimism governance forum, so you can go to gov.optimism.io and learn more a little bit about what I said there, as well as on our Twitter account. The Optimistics team is the team behind Optimism Fractal and the Respect game, so you can check out Optimistics_ to learn more about our work, as well as Optimistics.io as well. And check out our tweets. Thanks, Rosmari, for putting out a tweet and encouraging everybody to join. And yeah, hope everybody's having a happy new year too. We're in our second week of the year for Optimism Fractal, and wishing everyone and their families a wonderful year, and encourage you to invite friends too. We love to meet more people and do the fractal nature of the game. We go into breakout rooms, so as many people can join, we can all have a great time together. You can check out lou.ma/Optimism Fractal to join the weekly events. Like I said, they are at 17 UTC every Monday, and you can find a little bit more information here. And then also, in case you're not familiar with Optimism, check out optimism.io. Optimism is a low-cost and lightning-fast Ethereum L2 blockchain, actually superchain powered by Optimism. There's an awesome resource where you can learn more about Optimism and the Optimism Collective in the community, as well as the superchain and the Optimism Collective, which is really doing very, very many exciting things to reward public goods creators and build a sustainable future for Ethereum and the future of the internet. I mentioned before, this is the Optimistics team who hosted. That's myself, Rosmari, and Vlad and Das. And so we also host some other events too, and all sorts of cool stuff you can learn about at optimistics.io. And we also have a blog post where you can learn more about optimism, including a video that we made recently, which has an introduction to optimism. We also, I forgot to mention it, but I mentioned briefly, but we produce videos of each event, and you can check that out at optimistics.io and also on the YouTube channels that we have linked up here too. So we have an Optimistics YouTube channel and Eden Creators YouTube channel where you can watch the videos from each event as well as learn more about it. Lots of really cool stuff that we do every week, and encourage you to learn more. There's always timestamps in the description as well, so you can check out all the cool stuff we're doing, as well as you could see I was listening to some music apparently on the sidebar as well. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to play the Respect game. If anybody's not familiar, the Respect game is a simple and profoundly helpful game that anybody can play to grow their community and/or organization. It's also a fun way to foster collaborations, raise awareness for public goods creators, and help communities fairly reward impact. And it provides a revolutionary governance system that allows communities to cooperate and make decisions very efficiently, very effectively. We have some tutorials here where you can learn more about how to play the game, and we also have a little overview. Basically, how it's going to work is that we do have over 6 people right now, so we're going to be splitting up into 2 breakout groups, and however many people, we'd always split up into breakout groups if there's more than 6 people, of 3 to 6 people in each group, and then each person will get 4 minutes to share what they've been doing to help optimism. This can be if you're creating content or building software or inviting friends, or if you're just here and even if you haven't been doing much to help optimism lately, just joining is a big contribution in itself. So feel free to just share whatever you're up to and also introduce yourself. And then after everybody takes turns to share what they're doing, then we work together to reach consensus on the rankings and rank who did the most to help. who did the second most, who did the third most, and who did the fourth most, and so forth. We focus on the past week's contributions mostly. And then if 4 to 6, or I should say 66% of the group can post it on chain, the results using our app by the end of 2 hours, then respect is distributed to each participant. And the higher rank you get for helping more, then the more respect you get. All sorts of cool stuff happens in there. Lots of benefits to the respect game that you can explore here too. That's at optimistic.io/respect game, and at optimismfractal.com/details. You can also see a basic overview as well as links to the apps. You don't need to know most of that. Just participate and join. Feel free to join, and we can help walk you through it, and we'll explain. But basically, everybody will get a chance to speak about what they've been doing to help for 4 minutes. And then we'll play the game, use the apps to learn more. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out in our Discord on optimismfractal.com/contact. And then also, lately we've been talking about the next steps of Optimism Fractal too, so we might discuss that afterwards as well. And I did just post a new Optimism Fractal Notion site, which has some ideas that we could explore later. But for now, we're just going to do the respect game, and the game will be over by the top of the hour. So hope that was clear to everybody. Hope that everybody has an awesome time. Welcome, Nuno, as well. Great to see you. And yeah, I think we're ready to go into the breakout rooms. So I'll start them up now, and you should be able to join now and enjoy. See you soon.
Hello, BB.
Oh,
Hey,
Hey, all.
hey.
Nice to see you. Happy New Year, Nuno.
thank you. Likewise, good to see familiar faces. I feel
Thank
like
you.
I start to
Likewise.
know you guys.
Yeah,
Feels good.
absolutely. I agree. I was very happy to see you message in the Fractally chat as well as the Eat Fractal chat too. So I hope that you've been doing well with everything in the new year, and excited to hear your updates. And I saw you're working on full time and Web3. So yeah, very excited to learn more, and happy to see you always, as well as Bitbeckers and Tadas, of course. Glad to be together. Super team. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. I'll let you guys judge if what I did this week was a contribution somehow to optimism or not. You guys, I would like your opinion.
Sounds good. Well, we'll be the judge of it. That's part of the game. Although I will just say right now, though, and I see BitBeckers giving a thumbs up. I think BitBeckers agrees, and also Zoom has these weird thumbs up things now that pop up too. So extra thumbs up. But yeah, just being here is a big contribution in itself. I saw you asked that question in the chat, but I mean, just coming here helps Optimism Fractal a lot. So that's a big contribution in itself. So that's worthy of respect as long as you can reach consensus. But looking forward to it, and I'm sure that the stuff you did, I'm very excited to learn more. So. With that, I suppose, I don't know if Tadas or Bitbecker, you have anything on your mind that you want to share first, but we can get into um, the respect game now and show what we're doing. I was trying to read Bitbeckers. I was a bit confused about your comment. I don't know if you want to elaborate. You said sorry, and it's your Mac
Yeah.
OS or
As you met these things, like
Oh,
you get the fireworks, and this is like balloons.
oh,
Then
okay.
like macOS overlays. No, you need to do like two bull horns.
Okay. Oh, here's my balloons. That
Or
happened to me the other
you'll
day
get a
twice. I was
layer.
wondering why. What?
But you also have a layover in your background because
Oh,
your for Amir, sorry, is background with darken, and you get like fireworks.
okay.
Hmm.
That's cool. I keep getting balloons all over the place. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember seeing the new Mac OS has that feature, and that's pretty cool. And it kept catching me by surprise. So thanks for explaining that, VB. All right, now that we got some cool fireworks and balloons, would anybody like to go first and share what they've been doing?
I'm happy to share.
Sounds good. Well, you can take it away now. I'll set the timer as well.
Okay. Can you help me with the timer then, please?
Yes, I'll start it right now.
Okay. So basically, this past week, other than the regular work I do as usual, you guys know me already. I work with online voting. Other than the regular stuff I do every day, what was special was that I had a meeting with the mayor of a town here in Portugal, and I was not alone. I came with a representative of a Web3 community in Lisbon, and we went to to spread the message of Web3 and try to convince the mayor to accept crypto payments in every shop in the town, in the city. And yeah, that's the message we want to bring. We went to bring to him that Web3 crypto is an expanding market and there's many opportunities. And it would be great to have a city in Portugal where we could say, yeah, everywhere you can use cryptocurrencies. That's what we try to do. And that was different from what I usually do. Other than that, yeah, I'm not much of a podcast guy or a public speech person. Although I've been pitching last month a lot about online voting. But anyhow, I did this podcast with a guy who the community it's called Crypto Digitalium. It's in Portugal as well, and it's focused on the Portuguese. It's in Portuguese, and basically they do market analysis. They analyze the cryptocurrencies, which one is trending, etc. And I went there to talk about online voting because that's all I can talk about. It's online voting, and yeah, it got a little bit viral in the sense that it got some views, unexpected. So that was cool, and yeah, I guess this is the thing. This is what was special about my week. So that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Nuno. Well, way to go. It sounds like you made some good progress. If you did want to share more, then you have a minute and 40 seconds left, and I'd be happy to hear more. But it's up to you if you want to pass it on.
I don't know what could be said about it. It was nothing special. We were well received everywhere, and it was fun. Yeah, just to sum up, so basically, meeting with the mayor to spread the message of Web3 to make adoption of an entire town of payments. And secondly, I was podcasting to a community, and it got a little bit virality. And I was pitching online voting as always. That's all. Thank you, guys.
All right. Sounds great. Well, awesome. That sounds like great work. Thanks, Nuno, for providing more details about that too. And would you like to pick somebody to go next?
I would like to challenge my friend here. I'm just looking for the name. Give me a moment. I would like to challenge Tadas.
Thanks, Nuno, for the challenge. I'll try to rise up to it. Okay, so I will post some links in the chat, and basically this is a summary of my contributions. Yeah, so posted an article about which I called the ORAC. It's optimistic respect-based executive contract. So what's the motivation is we need a way for fractal contributors to eventually control the smart contract of Optimism Fractal. And initially our intent was to give control to top 6 contributors. As I started looking into how to do it, I found some issues, like namely I don't see an efficient way to sort the contributors on chain so that we could figure out top contributors, at least not as efficient as I'd like. And also there is another issue that more practical, that top contributors might not always be active and willing and knowledgeable enough to approve transactions. And yeah, so these motivations led me to come up with this idea, and it came about quite naturally. For me, it's kind of an elegant design, and yeah, so I'm looking for feedback on this idea. And yeah, I also was thinking a lot last few weeks about general governance patterns, like about like more about general philosophy, because I noticed there are some patterns which are in all governance systems, and I was looking at what Optimism Fractal, for example, needs, and trying to organize basically into categories what we need. And I found that basically everything can be categorized basically to what I call legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial. So basically the typical three-branch governance system. Basically in legislative, you decide what do you want to do in human level language. This branch would also track issues, projects of a fractal, basically what fractal needs for contributors to do, for example. Executive branches are all people who contribute during their own time, and judicial is basically a respect game, which in this case it's a respect game where we evaluate each other's work. And I'm thinking that this basically forms the most critical components, and on which basically we could base everything. Yeah, and besides that, I distributed respect for the last meeting, and yeah, also developing designs, a couple of alternative designs for automated respect distribution. But this problem for me is related to how we to basically to how we control the smart contract of Optimism Fractal. So yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Tadas.
Dan, would you like to go next?
Surely. All right. I will share my screen. Sorry, I was a little bit slightly disorganized because I saw Gudasol was trying to join too, but he was having an issue joining. Okay, but I'm good to go now though. So, Dan Singjoy, and here is what I have been doing to help optimism lately. And I don't know if my timer is working. I tried to start the timer, but I can't see it anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm sharing my screen, but I'll just notice the time in my top right corner. Okay, so I guess one of the main contributions that I shared just before before we started the Optimism Fractal event is this Notion page I put together, and I've been working on this a lot this past week. Basically, this Notion site is intended to provide a collaborative space for Optimism Fractal. So if anybody wants to edit it or comment on it and collaborate here, then let me know, and I can share access and also have ideas about how we can grow this in a more decentralized and community way and so forth in the future. It's just work in progress right now, but I started out by organizing projects, tasks, topics, resources, and feedback and about. And then I also spoke with Hodlon for about a half hour after the event last week, and he shared with me some ideas about his retrospective as well as lots of collaboration. So I have a section about retrospectives too, where he's going to add some stuff. I organized a little bit with projects. This is using the Notion.so/projects feature, which is really helpful. I've been using a lot over the past year, and I put a lot of projects. I was planning to show just like 5, but I wound up just adding several. Tadas added one too, because I had 2 or 3 meetings, I guess 2 meetings with the Optimystics team this week where we discussed this as well as some other topics. So I put together some missions, some topics or projects about exploring optimism missions for the Optimism Fractal community. That's a big like funding opportunity in the optimism ecosystem, as well as opportunity to incentivize work for Optimism Fractal and Respect Game. Determining the Optimism Fractal consensus process we've talked about. Each one of these you can click open, and then there's more details about it. I tried to give like a little high-level overview of what these are, as well as many of them have tasks associated with them. And the ones that don't have tasks, I'm planning to organize it better to do so. Last week I'd mentioned I was working on a thing to formalize and like request leads to join so they can run the breakout rooms and so forth. There's ones for, this is one that Tadas created about creating tools and processes to track projects. I also made projects for the past few weeks about improving the visibility for Optimism Fractal Respect. how it shows up in the block explorer as well as NFT explorers and stuff like that. And I cut a little video from a recent Optimistics call that we have where we explain how it works and then also explain how it could potentially work with NFT explorers and POAPs and stuff like that. So I worked on that a lot. And then there's a bunch of other projects too, like exploring integration with HATS protocol, exploring funding opportunities, integrating with quests. Some of the projects we've been talking about, there's a whole bunch of them here. I also did a lot of research into Ethereum attestation service. And so there's more here. Also, this comes with some tasks. And then I figured it might be helpful to have like a little topic section too, and then just find some resources. There's a lot more I can go into there, but I'm already probably halfway through my presentation, so I'll move on. I also worked a lot on missions too. So there's a mission system in Optimism that's due in the next few days. So I've been working on this a lot over the past few weeks. Forgot to mention it this week, but I worked on a mission proposal, and I'm working with Tadas as well as Rosmari and Vlad on these to make missions to improve retroPGF reprocess and other things that can be helpful for Optimism Fractal. And we have a project here, which I also shared with the community in that page. And then I hosted those 2 meetings with Optimystics team. Basically, we talked about a lot of helpful stuff. And then at Optimism Fractal, or at Eden Fractal rather, I promoted Optimism and Optimism Fractal at several times. And I also worked on formulating our vision and put together a new page for Eden Fractal's vision. Eden Fractal is another community who's pioneering all these processes, and I'm aiming to also make more collaborations with Eden Fractal and Optimism too. So put together this page and have a bunch of videos and helpful stuff there. Followed up with Loring from the Shutter Network, which is really interesting. He's interested in using the Respect game, so followed up with him and did some research into the tools that Hodlon's been talking about as well with quests. And then I also submitted the first art for the We Heart the Art competition that I submitted for a couple of music videos I made a while ago, and I tried making generative art too. With like ChatGPT basically. So it's pretty interesting. You can see the videos now on Zora where I'm like playing guitar and stuff and producing some videos and singing. And then I also purchased NFTs from Abraham and Rosmari, and then I posted the promotions and worked on the promotions and like the content and stuff like that for Optimism Fractal. That's it. Would you like to go next, Bitbeckers?
Yes, thanks. Don't screen share. I'll work on this for the next week. Let's see. Oh man, where do I start? I'm still working with voice deck to bring them to OP, but they want to use a marketplace. So we're first gonna build on testnet. For another project, I'm working on basically a token bound account, like a 6551 for those that know, to manage work streams. So for funding, coordination, evaluation, those kind of things. Working on those contracts. With Public Nouns, we're re-evaluating if we want to move to OP because governance on mainnet is simply expensive. And there's a lot of momentum on OP, of course. Wrapping up the marketplace still, but I'm kind of holding pattern, and I'm talking with a lot of people about how we can integrate with Hypercerts. One of them is Karma that I'll probably meet with this Wednesday. And they're pretty close to the Gitcoin, so probably will also be more easy to move into Gitcoin. Meeting with a bunch of people just about either using Hypercerts or just potentially collaborating or those kind of things. And I'm in preparation of a workshop that I need to give at PSC with where Hodlon works on Hypercerts as well. A lot of fun reviewing the OP round 3 drops. Congrats, by the way, Dan. Yeah, and I'm actually for Hypercerts, we're starting to work on a governance model. As in, we're now basically working as a product development team. But I always want decentralization to be the tendency. So we're probably gonna start soon with like a HIP process, like Hypercerts improvement proposal process, where people can create contributions, and that would be really exciting because it would be, for me, it feels like the first steps as in bootstrapping community contributions and community efforts and how to orchestrate and govern those. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I think those are the most things that I've done the last week.
All right.
Yeah.
Very exciting, BitBeckers. As always, you still have, or as I sometimes tend to say, you have a bit more time if you want to share any more. But if you want to wrap it up there, that's cool.
No, I think it's good for now. Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds good. Does anybody have any questions or comments for anybody? I suppose we'll get the fractogram set up. I don't know, Tadas, if you're setting that up or if I should set it up now. And one of us can do that. And then does anybody have any questions or comments for anybody?
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit hard to judge from the discussion we had. So, for example, what I got from Tadas, not Tadas, sorry, yeah, Tadas, yes. He was more focused on the abstract aspects of governance. He was trying to make some ideas clear, and he was working at some coding as well, from the smart contracts, how to make them, I don't know, how to make a smart contract more easy manageable between a group of people. And from what I gather from Dan, is that you were focused more on documentation. This is what I call it. I'm not sure if you would describe what you did as that, but more like making the Notion page and putting everything there. I like to call that documentation aspect. And I see both contributions to the fractal are very important. I think both go hand in hand. So it's very hard for me to judge who did the most of work from this small discussion. I would like to hear what you think of this comment I made.
Well, I agree. I mean, that's part of the fun of the game, trying to subjectively assess the contributions for each person, and each person's doing a lot too. I know Nuno, you haven't been super involved in the Optimism ecosystem, and so I'm not sure. But I mean, Bitbeckers has also been contributing a lot to the Optimism ecosystem too. So I imagine that adds another difficulty too, like seeing, like understanding what people are doing in some cases. But I mean, to some extent, it just like basically we do our best to come to consensus, and it's not a perfect measurement. Like basically what we aim to do is we aim to take lots of measurements on a week-to-week basis on who did the most helpful work and second most helpful work and so forth. And sometimes it might be, like not fair, or like somebody did more but they get less or whatever. But over time, when we repeat it over and over again, then we get a more precise measurement because we get a large sample size of measurements. So I would say don't put too much pressure on it. Just try your best. It's helpful when you provide recaps like that, and also help think through the process for everybody here and everybody who might be watching. But at the same time, it's like we'll just do our best to figure out, well, what is more important, documentation or building the tool in this particular case. And then there's always kind of just like a subjective decision there.
No, yeah, I guess it made sense what you said, Dan, especially the part of getting to know you guys better, to follow exactly what you're doing. That takes more interactions to even people who are listening, who are watching this video for the first time and they never watched, they would feel like kind of lost in the discussion, I suppose. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, and that's one of our challenges to get it across and help everybody understand it, even if they don't have much time or aren't experienced with it too. But yeah, it's a great journey to be on and to figure out the best way to explain it. And I appreciate your judgment, Nuno, and you're helping to lead us and everybody watching in figuring out the best way to play the game and assess contributions.
Yeah, I shared the Telegram link in the chat, with some chat.
Okay, cool.
We can reach consensus.
Thank you.
And by the way, to what Nuno said, based on that, I have an argument for why to vote Dan at the top. For me, what he's doing, he's creating a page where we would see all projects and issues Optimism Fractal has. And I think the next step would be if we would be able to somehow gather community's consensus about which issues are priorities, which projects are priorities for Optimism Fractal. Then we could take that into account when evaluating people. So if someone works on high priority issue, he should maybe get more respect. And in general, I think it's we needed this a while ago to have one place to have all items of work, basically what people can work on. I know Bitbeckers mentioned something like that too.
Yeah, true. There's more in the context, and I think this really helps indeed then, because for me it's just like I rolled in here. I'm happy to be here, but I'm also not sure where we're going. And apparently, you have a list of 15 things that you want to work on. So it really helps to make them visible and findable for others.
Cool. Well, thank you. I'm glad that helps and appreciate the feedback. And yeah, it's partially inspired by your feedback, Bitbeckers, like, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so at a meeting, a few of our meetings ago. You were saying how it'd be helpful to have some place like to collaborate and text throughout the week and stuff like that and explore like that. So I don't know if I mentioned it too as I was presenting it because it was going kind of fast, but feel free if you want edit access there, then I can share edit access and comment access. And then if you have any ideas about, projects you want to focus on or anything like that you want to help do there, I figured I'd just give us a start basically, and then we could take it as a community together. And also, one thing that Tadas did that's super helpful, in addition to all the other great stuff he did too, is that a project he put up for organizing the projects and tasks and like prioritizing them. Tadas has worked a lot on an idea called respect trees, which I actually linked in that project a little bit after Tadas wrote it, and like it's great to have 15 projects, but to answer Nuno's question about how do you evaluate, well, if somebody's doing this project or that project, what's one's more valuable? And over time, we can get better at coming to consensus about what are the top priorities, and that can also be helpful to guide people's decisions about what's most helpful to vote for. But then at the same time, too, those are Optimism Fractal priorities. And another thing that interesting, I watched the video last week, or I listened to, and I saw Hodlon was talking about, and he had in his retrospective about the idea of like general contributions, but optimism. And it's not just helping Optimism Fractal, but also helping optimism in general too. So that's another thing too that kind of weighs in the decision how much you're helping Optimism Fractal and how much you're helping larger Optimism Collective. But not to confuse it too much, just very inspiring discussion, and appreciate the thoughts and figure I'd add on a little bit more thoughts there too.
Yeah, if you wanna add me, wait, oh, many these.
Yeah, if you want to,
Sorry, guys.
if anyone wants to be added, Bitbeckers or anybody else, then feel free to, you can PM me your email address or something like that. Okay, yeah, I see it now. So I'll add that now. And I think everybody submitted a response to the fractogram except for Nuno. Nuno,
Yeah,
could
I'm
you...
missing. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay,
One moment, please.
no problem.
Wallet.
Okay, Bitbeckers, I just added you to the Notion page, so you should have full access there, so you can leave comments or edit things or add projects or whatever else you want to do there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I suppose while Nuno's joining, I don't know if Nuno's in there yet. Yeah, Nuno's in there, so we can start doing the level 6 prompt too when you're ready to DOS. But yeah, I suppose one thing I'll add or mention while we're saying that is I face a similar challenge too. Like I hear Nuno and Bitbeckers do all these like great things, and then like I'm more familiar with Tadas's work to some extent because we meet a couple times a week. But then I go back and listen to the recordings, and I'm like, wow, there's so much I missed, and like I have to listen to it twice to understand everything everybody's doing sometimes. So I like in past Bitbeckers have like shared notes about it, so I think that's a good idea for us to do in the future. Maybe we can use AI to do it too in the future. But if we had more time, I'd love to ask more questions about it, exactly all the things you're doing because it sounds really interesting and excited to learn more.
Yeah. Do you have the link again to the Notion? Because I wrote down Eden creates the Notion, but it doesn't resolve.
Oh yeah. I'll share the link. I shared it in the Optimism Fractal Discord, by the way. It's one of the most recent messages there, but I'll also just share it in the Zoom chat right now. And right now we don't have a vote from BitBeckers in the factogram.
Oh, I'm sorry. Distracted.
No problem.
So the reason I chose Tadas is more because I believe like the coding, the smart contracts, that's so important and difficult to program. And even though I also feel that documentation and community engagement is equally important, I'm not saying otherwise. It's just that I was really hoping that in 2024, the infrastructure aspect of things are already well advanced. So that's why my hats were to Tadas for working on this, on the smart contracts and everything.
Okay.
Trying to to make the 50-50 go some other way.
It sounds good. Thanks, Nuno. I appreciate you helping lead the discussions and share your thoughts, and that all makes sense to me. I know Tadas advocate for me before, and I appreciate that, but I also advocate for Tadas. I'd be happy either way. But I mean, in addition, I agree with what you're saying. The code is really important, and then Tadas also he provided a major leadership role with lots of other things too, like the deciding the consensus process with the OREC. He also had another article, I don't know, I think he linked and mentioned it about you know, the executive process and stuff like that. So if you want to switch to yourself to DOS, I'd be happy with that, or BitBeckers. I'm happy either way, but I really appreciate what Tadas working. I agree with everything that Nuno said there.
Yeah, switched. Consensus.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Sounds good. You're welcome, of course.
Now it should be Dan.
Level 5.
For some reason, it's Telegram is lagging a bit for me.
Okay, so far we don't have a vote from Nuno, I see.
I voted.
Okay, Telegram is lagging for me again. Oh, actually, no, we don't have a vote from. Oh, yeah, we don't have a vote from Tadas, but Tadas voted for me, I think, in verbal. So I think that's consensus then.
Is this never automated? So the consensus is just social, right? It's not like you need to have all the votes in the poll for the next one.
I don't understand. What do you mean? Oh.
I mean, I can create the next poll without all the votes.
No, I was just curious because you said, oh, Tadas voted verbally, and that makes it consensus. I thought, oh, so it doesn't need to be in the app.
Well, it's easier if votes are in the app, then the final consensus message is generated automatically.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's again, it's important for people maybe to understand it's meant to help consensus, not to determine consensus. So it's yeah.
Okay. Maybe I can explain. I voted on Nuno because I find it really important when people do outreach to governments and having IRL connections, because sometimes it feels like we're building spaceships, and this is really bringing it back to the humans.
You build a spaceship in space and then land it on Earth.
Yeah, and then they all get scared, and then they get FUD, and then they will call the SEC.
we need people like Nuno to help us out with that. And in general, it's kind of tough for me. I voted for BitBeckers, and BitBeckers has consensus. I'd be open to switching because I think I really appreciate what Nuno is doing too. I know I think BitBeckers got the lowest rank last week, even though I remember he did do work. I remember last week you were saying you did the holidays, but I remember seeing some really cool work you did, and I have been looking around like the Gitcoin forums and looking into what you're actually doing with Hypercerts and raid guild and stuff like that. And I think it's really awesome and a lot of helpful development. So to what Nuno was saying about building these tools, and I really appreciate your interest in Optimism Fractal as well as helping to lead it with the brainstorming like that. So that's why I voted for BitBeckers. But at the same time, I really love what Nuno's doing too, and I also really appreciate Nuno's interest in both joining this event, even though he hasn't been contributing directly to Optimism, but asking and being a leader in the discussion. And also, he joined the Eden Fractal too, which I really appreciate too, which I think is a contribution to Optimism as well. But happy to go either way. But right now, my vote's at BitBeckers.
Yeah, I'm happy too, and I appreciate whoever voted for me. You're good. You're cool.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cool. Well, I love the attitude, and of course, we all get respect here too. So, like I said, just being here is a big contribution, and especially because there's only four of us here, the lowest any respect any person gets in respect is 13 respect. So, that is a lot more than level 2 or level 1 would be, and so we all get respect. It's all good, and yeah, thanks everybody for the awesome meeting. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm very curious to see what's the next step. Like some, I don't know who said this. I think it was Tadas that to give more context to these if meetings. So beforehand, we know what's priority, what's not. I don't know. I'm really curious to see where this is going. So yeah.
To be honest, we ourselves are kind of figuring this out right now. What's the priority? And yeah, we ideally we want, at least I want, but I think the rest of optimistic team would agree that we want community's input here. And in the future, that's how it should run, I think. Community determines priorities, people contribute on those priorities, and it works like this.
Yep. I'm very curious to see where it'll go as well. And it's something that Tadas and me and the Optimistics team talked about several times this week, trying to figure out the next steps to propose for the community or next steps to go. So I'm excited to hear what everybody thinks is best too. I'm sure you have lots of great ideas. I'm really happy to hear them about what you think the future direction should be for Optimism Fractal. And yeah, I really appreciate your interest and curiosity and excitement, and I share that too. And yeah, we can also discuss it too afterwards too. So for the first like several months of Optimism Fractal, we were just doing hour-long meetings, and it's good to do that for many reasons. It's more time efficient and keeps everybody's it's easier to fit into every schedule. The past few meetings we went a bit longer. We probably went like almost an hour and a half or so, and kind of discussed more about our next steps. So if we want, it's up to the community. But after we get it back in the breakout room, we could both hear from the other breakout room and then also discuss a little bit of our next steps too. And the Notion page that I created, that's also intended to be kind of a start in that to try to help organize our direction. Also, by the way, if anybody hasn't yet submitted the consensus results on chain, that is now ready to do by just clicking the here button, and you can confirm Bitbecker shared the hash 7F990F80. So let's make sure that we get that submitted on chain as soon as we can, so we make sure we get the respect distributed without any issues.
Definitely. Dan, I'll be checking the Notion page.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts about it and collaborating with you today.
By the way, while we're waiting, Tadas, you mentioned you identified 3 pillars in governance. Are you with the trias politica. I'm not sure what it's called in English.
Wait, could you repeat that term? You repeated two terms.
The trias politica, the separation of powers.
Yes, that's in the article I call it tripartite governance system, but yeah, it's also called that.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to point it out. It might be some inspiration, but you are already aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's also made an interesting point too, that he argued against the separation of powers to some extent, saying that a lot of times people say separation of powers is like really valuable to have judicial and executive and legislative, but he said it could even be the same people, but have it where like, well, I don't know, Tadas could probably speak to it because I'm speaking off memory, but he's saying that there could be basically benefits to not having it separated because then people speak together more often and there's like less separation between people. But this is my extremely uneloquent remembering way to say it. So
yeah, so basically what I'm saying is that I still think it's good to separate those powers, but it's not necessary to separate people across these powers. So basically it can be the same set of people, but you have different processes for these three types of basically perspective: legislative perspective, executive perspective, and the judicial perspective. You can have same people do all of these three things, and I'm arguing that there are benefits to that. And yeah, so it could look like having separate meetings for each of these, or yeah.
It sounds like a problem of, or like a scale is involved here, right? I mean, there are many voluntary organizations that have like a foundation and they require specific rules, and then suddenly there are like 3 people, or if they're not a foundation, they have overlapping rules, maybe because they're starting. But I'm assuming you don't want your president to be the Supreme Court judge and the Admiral General of the U.S. Army.
Yes, but if I'm kind of applying these terms very generally, like it's judicial branch, and this system is any kind of module, any kind of component which judges, evaluates stuff that other people do. So in from this perspective, respect game is the judicial branch, and in this sense, it's if everyone participates in respect game, then they compensate for each other's biases. And so it's not a problem that some executive is also participating in a judicial branch respect game.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds, but in that case, you would also be leaning more into the fact that it's like decentralized, right? So anybody can opt in to governance.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, we're obviously dealing with the fallouts of centralization problems, so it's good to reflect on these.
Yeah, of course.
Yep, I agree. And I think Tadas shared the article when you share your contributions. So if you're interested, I'd recommend I found it very interesting as a way to see it kind of from first principles, and it kind of helps all decision making in a way. And also welcome Gudasol too. Hope that you're doing well. I just got a message from Rosmari. They're still in their breakout room and reaching consensus. So we could just hang out here for a couple more minutes and then we'll head back to the community room.
Guys, I would love to, and we have to, but I have a
you're muted there for a second. Could you repeat that? You said you love to, but something?
No, I have a meeting I have to be right now, but thank you so much.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Nuno. Hopefully you enjoy your meeting.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. See ya. Thanks. Balloons. Balloons for Nuno.
Wait, I can yeah.
Yeah, that article is an early draft, by the way, so it's not. It needs to be.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
this one.
Heck yeah. Just throwing a party up in Bitbecker's place.
Yeah. It's like the new
Amazing.
Zoomer party, just everybody just going like this entire evening.
Right? Yeah, maybe I'll try that too. It seems like it seems too fun to pass up on right now. Let me get rid of this thing. Woo! Am I doing? Oh, now you got something going on there. How does it work? You got to do. Oh, I got balloons again. I just balloons for me.
Yeah.
Is
You
it
only
this?
have balloons.
I just got
Oh, you can do
balloons.
this.
Okay.
Make a heart.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Send the heart straight from my heart. That's nice. That's like very that's very beautiful. Very cool. And then oh, I got confetti. Woo!
It makes every meeting way more fun. Like it's something so stupid you need to laugh, right? It's like, yeah, balloons again.
Yeah, right. It's a nice little change. I can imagine too. This is the first version, so maybe there can be all sorts of different effects you could do. Um, I was also watching a video too, kind of on another note, but they're talking about like music for like kind of like documentaries and videos on YouTube. And they're talking how like music can make it so much more entertaining. And so at some point I would love to have it where like these videos can be like, people you give your presentation and it starts to like playing some cool music in the background or something like that. Like here's what I did. So
Yeah.
I see a lot of potential to make it more fun with visuals and music and stuff like that.
Or like the game buzzer beater during the voting rounds. Do 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 do. Wah. Time's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And
don't
we
have
could
that? No.
no, we don't I mean sometimes when I do the timer it makes a little beep beep, but sometimes it doesn't even do that. So that's all we have really here. Oh, actually I am able to do different sounds for the timer. I just realized, and I think I figured out actually maybe I don't know. I just explored this new timer section for the first time, and if I set a timer for like I don't know, maybe I'll set it for like 3 seconds now and then see what happens after here. Yeah, there's no sound, right?
No.
Okay, I
It's
didn't hear it.
minus.
But that, yeah, well, I started at 3 seconds, and I was like, okay, well, maybe if I just do it or that, and then we can see it. But it's not working the volume for some reason. So I will troubleshoot that and figure it out.
This is nice.
Oh, you hear the sound, you mean, or what?
You didn't hear it?
No, I don't hear it for some reason.
Oh, do it again.
Oh man, I wish I could hear it.
I did.
I gotta get the balloons to make me feel better.
Yeah. Zero balloons. Yeah.
I didn't hear it either.
Maybe it's at a certain pitch and only Bitbeckers can hear that pitch.
Uh,
I just got
I
noticed
didn't
from the
want to
other.
ask what's your age?
Yeah, man, I'm just joking. Gudasol setting up the confetti cannon, so he's had a good time. I think I just got a message from the other kid. They're ready to go back to the main regular room, so I guess we can go back there and save our room one partying for later with
Yeah.
our effects and stuff. All right, well, thanks again for the great room. Awesome to hear what everybody's contributions are, as well as partying.
Yeah.
See it. I got my timer going, and this happens sometimes too, which is great. Hey, timer, move it, move it. How do I turn it off?
Timer Dan.
Timer 10, yeah. Show timer at all. Get rid of this. Nope, it's still there. I guess timer's taking over the hosting duties with this. Okay, there we go. Oh
It's funny.
no!
It's back.
It came back. We're getting Optimism Fractal is getting attacked for the timer right now. Okay, I had to apps.
I think it won't die.
What's that?
It's there now. Every Zoom that you'll have will be an infinite countdown.
I don't know how to stop it. Um, okay.
What's going on over here?
Welcome everybody. The timer will now be hosting the Optimism Fractal. I hope you all enjoy as the timer slowly ticks down to eternity.
Counting
Yeah.
up. It's counting up, actually.
Well, I can, no, it's negative. So it went, so I can restart it. I think I can restart it, or maybe I can restart it.
You don't
I'm,
have control anymore.
yeah, I don't have control of it, clearly. I now tried starting for 5 minutes. I think Zoom is glitching right now. It's going in on a rhythm. Oh, I think it's, oh, okay. I'll try to figure this out. Oh, what is going on here? I'll try to figure this out. Anyway, in the meantime, maybe I'll just talk over here. Hope that everybody had a wonderful time in their breakout room. Great to see everybody. Our room was really fun and really great contributions. We sometimes closed up. In the beginning, we were closing up after an hour. So, of course, if anybody has to go, then feel free. Welcome, Gudasol, too. Thanks for joining. And Gudasol said he wanted to be here for some discussions. We can also discuss some of the next steps for Optimism Fractal, which we discussed. And I shared that Notion page so we can get into that a little bit. Would also be happy to hear from Christina. It's your first time here, and so I'm curious. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you wanted to, you introduce yourself briefly before we start recording. And I don't know if your room was able to record because I know Rosemary's having some issues, and I forgot to give her access to recording beforehand. So my apologies for that. But if you wanted to share a little bit about your experience and a little introduction for the recording, then feel free to do so. Also, Vlad, I said before too. Vlad is an Optimism team member, but he's only been to one meeting, so I'd be curious to hear Vlad thinking about how he's thinking of Optimism Fractal now and how the experience has been after a few months after starting it. And then, yeah, if we want, we can get into, I know Hodlon and BitBeckers and Tadas and Vlad and Rosmari and lots of us were thinking about next steps for Optimism Fractal, so we could discuss that too, or anything else really, or wrap it up whenever. I suppose, I don't know, should I pass it over to, I mentioned Christina or Vlad? Does anybody want to share some thoughts or have a direction to go into?
If I can go real quick, I have to go because I didn't realize this was going to go over the hour. But it was, yeah, it was very sweet. Yeah, is I can see why people like to come back here. So thank you. I'll probably see you next week.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much, Christina. I'm glad you enjoyed it and looking forward to seeing you again, and have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Cool. I heard somebody say something.
Oh, I was just saying bye to Christina.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. I don't know if Gudasol, you want to say hello, or Vlad, you have any thoughts? I see Tadas unmuted if you want to share, or Hodlon, you're muted too. Yeah, so that's a discussion we should probably have at some point as well about how long we want to go the meetings go. Do we want to stick to just under an hour? And if so, we can wrap it up and make sure to respect everybody's time, or we have discussions. Maybe I'll just turn my camera off for a second, but this is probably super distracting. We could have discussions about next steps for Optimism Fractal 2. So yeah, what's on everybody's mind, or do you want to share a little bit about your breakout room or anything else on your mind?
Hello. I'm happy to be here. Great to see or great to meet the Optimism community members. Something new for me. Yeah, let's discuss the next steps.
Yeah, so Dan, I mentioned in my presentation, so I presented about the retrospective that I did. I published it like right at the beginning of this, and it still needs to be polished a little bit, but the majority of it is there. Yeah, I just noticed that a lot of the stuff that I've been writing and thinking about is also conversations we were having. And so I just kind of like captured all of those, as many as I could, kind of in that document as well. So obviously we don't have to like go through it, but I just published it like an hour ago, and I'll post it on the Discord, and I posted it here, and I put it in the Notion page too. So, and happy to share any thoughts about anything in there.
Sounds great, Hodlon. Thanks so much for putting this together. I actually, when I was watching the video from last week, and I paused to see your retrospective on the part where you shared your screen last week, but it looks like there's a lot more detail here. It looks like there's a huge amount of detail here. If you'd like, you could share your screen, or I could share your screen, and we could go over some parts of this. I'm looking forward to reading it. Or if you want to just provide a high-level overview of your thoughts. You've been a great leader who's come to Optimism Fractal. And has been with us since I think the second meeting, and you invite a lot of people here, and so I really appreciate all your thoughts and feedback. And yeah, in addition to that, I also shared the Notion page too, in which I tried to organize a lot of thoughts and next steps for Optimism Fractal going forward. So that's another thing we could refer to. I'd be happy to give a little walkthrough over some projects and next steps that I saw there. I gave a little bit in my breakout room as well, but I could go over it here too if people are interested.
Yeah, maybe if you want to, I don't know, like I can just I don't need to like go over everything I wrote, but maybe I can just you know, you can go through what you have and I can jump in if I have thoughts, and then just have like reference material of the retro that I just published.
Okay, cool. This sounds good. So yeah, maybe it's best if I share my screen there and just show the Optimism Fractal Notion site and give a little overview and walkthrough there, and then you can feel free to jump in as well as everybody else, and then we can take it from there as far as kind of figuring out our next steps and so forth. I see a thumbs up from Hodlon. Sounds good. Also, Rosmari gave me some feedback about how to stop the timer from taking over the meeting. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. But maybe I'll just real quick try to troubleshoot that. Does anybody else have any other thoughts in mind that you want to share before I go ahead and share that screen and share the Notion page? Okay, I suppose I'll just go ahead. Yeah, I see Rosemary sending me a message to say go to apps, then click that. But for some reason, it's still not working.
I have to say there was like one day last week where all of my meetings, like there was something weird going on in every single meeting. Like the sound wasn't working, like the video, like all sorts of weird stuff was going on. So maybe it's just reverberations of that, some weirdness going on in the universe.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, you've all seen my face before, and I could always turn it on and peek over the thing if needed. But otherwise, I can just go ahead and just share that screen, and then maybe while there's a break in the conversation, I'll try to troubleshoot it more, or just get it fixed for next time. And I wish that everybody's Zoom chats and otherwise will be working well in general in the future. Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and share this now. And curious to hear everybody's thoughts about it. I was discussing this a bit with in our breakout rooms, as I said, and I just shared it um, in the Optimism Fractal Discord earlier, like maybe 2 hours ago, an hour before the meeting. So I'm not sure if anybody had any chance to check that out then. As a general note, if anybody wants to collaborate here, then feel free to just let me know, and then you can DM me your email or something like that, and then you can have access to edit as well as comment and so forth. Basically, this Notion site is intended to provide a collaborative space for Optimism Fractal community. So it's a work in progress, and it'll be updated in the future. But I figured it's just a good start for us to find a common direction and figure out what to do and what we want to prioritize as a community and so forth. And appreciate your interest in checking out and hearing me out here. Feel free to jump in with any thoughts, and maybe I'll just give an overview for a few minutes, and we can dive in deeper to any specific part of it. And yeah, then feel free to let me know is there any way you want to help collaborate with this in general. So the table contents, after the welcome, there's projects, which is really the bulk of what it is, and there's tasks, and then there's topics, resources, retrospectives, feedback, and about. These are the current headers for the page right now. The retrospectives, right now, that's just Hodlon's retrospective there. So if you want to add that there, I don't know if you have yet, Hodlon, but feel free to do so, or I can add it for you there later. And then, yeah, the projects, this is using the Notion projects feature, which I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but I've been using it a lot since it came out about last year. We use it to collaborate on a lot of our projects with Optimystics and Eden Fractal and other communities. So there's a little good overview of how this feature works. It's really helpful for organizing a lot of thoughts and projects and stuff like that on notion.so/projects. You don't need to explore it, but if you do want to just understand better, I mean, one, you can just feel free to ask any questions, but that's basically how it works. Anybody can create a project, as well as it can be organized with filters and all sorts of stuff. It's very it's very robust in terms of what you can do with it, but you can add a project by clicking the plus or clicking new or whatever. And I was aiming to just start with a few projects, but I wound up just kind of adding to them. And there's like 15 projects here now, and each one you can click open to see more details. So I put it in like roughly in kind of order that might be helpful to discuss. The top one I have right now is Explore Optimism Missions for Optimism Fractal community members. And the reason why I had this one on top is just because Optimism Collective has a mission proposal like request season kind of going on where people can request / design missions to earn funding for doing different things in Optimism Collective. There's 9 million OP available in Optimism Season 5, and I've been working on this a lot lately, but I just kind of got the idea to put it in this Notion page and share it with everybody. So the application for this is due in 2 days. But if anybody does have anything that you want to help build for Optimism Fractal or Optimism, then I'd be happy to share resources or help you craft that. And that could be a way. I think it'd be awesome if we can get funding for all community members, or if the community can help people in the community to get funding. So this is an opportunity, and then there's a project here with a lot more details about that in general. And so if you want to try doing any of these projects or tasks and get funding for them, then feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to help guide you through the process, or maybe help make a proposal in the next couple of days before it ends to get funding for doing these things, as well as in general, there's gonna be a lot more like basically this is the stage at which people design a mission which they can get funding for. And so you can design whatever mission that you want as long as it aligns with the goals of Optimism Collective. But then afterwards, there's a lot of just missions in general that we can apply to that I'll update here as well. The next one that I put is determine Optimism Fractal consensus process, which is something we've discussed a lot in the past few weeks in the optimismfractal.com/details. We had the idea, or in the intent basically, of having a bootstrap phase for the first 12 weeks, where there'd be basically the optimistics are making all the decisions in general for the first 12 weeks, but there'd be a council formed after that, and we're in the 11th week, so we've been thinking a lot about how to transition over and make it more of a community effort of making decisions and so forth. So I put a couple different tasks here, including the new OREC article from Tadas. Vlad had some really interesting ideas, and we had an idea for a council of top 6 respect contributors, but some way that we can use respect to make decisions collectively as a group. So a lot of these projects don't have too much yet, but there's a couple bullet points, and then there's tasks that you can go into to learn more about each of these tasks as well. Like this is another kind of consensus process that we use at Eden Fractal that potentially we could use as well. So you can go around and explore that. And then I have a bunch of other ones too. I mentioned last week about requesting leads for Optimism Fractal because right now there's only so many people who know how to use Fractogram. So we can, if people want to help out with that, then that would be appreciated. So we can handle more breakout rooms and be able to give everybody great experience. And there's a lot more detail about that if you go scroll down about how to use Fractogram and so forth. Happy to discuss that. And then Tadas made a great project here about create tools and processes to track projects and tasks for Optimism Fractal. And I had linked an article that Tadas wrote, as well as a video that we created about an idea called respect trees that could be used to help organize projects and tasks like this in Notion, or potentially in Charmverse if we want to make it more on chain on the OP mainnet. So I think that's a great that's a great one to focus on, because we have a lot of projects and tasks, but it's good to figure out, well, what is the most important things to focus on, and how do we, if we want to, delegate different roles and stuff like that, then how do we do that? And speaking of roles, I also have a project here about explore and create integrations with HATS protocol. This has just some notes that I shared. It has a bunch of different tasks organized, but some of it was inspired by conversations in Discord and conversations with Hodlon about HATS protocol. So for this one, there's like lots of different links that you could check out with some of my notes, and of course feel free to add your own notes here or anything like that, but each one of these has ideas about how we can use it. For example, Hodlon made quests last week with the HATS protocol, and you could check out the quests he made there, and all the integrations that we're doing with that we're thinking about doing with the HATS protocol. And I also did some research into quests too, and I put that into another project. I think that might be helpful to do. So yeah, I don't know how much to go into these, just as I guess a high level overview. One other thing I suppose I should go into a bit more into is I made this project for improved visibility of Optimism Fractal Respect. I know Hodlon before was asking, and Das gave a response about why we can't see like the leaderboard basically in the Block Explorer. And I also spoke with the Optimistics team about this quite a bit over, I guess, last week it was. And then I cut a little video, it's about 20 minutes long, of our discussion where Tadas gave a walkthrough of how to understand the Block Explorer with that the Optimism Fractal works with, and where you can see the respect and so forth. And then we also shared some ideas too about like currently the respect also shows the attendees too. So you can see in interfaces like Rainbow or Zora or OpenSea, you can see right now it just shows null, but at some point it'd be great to have it where like you can see like the artwork that we create or something like that for each Optimism Fractal event. So there's a project here with more details about that, and you can watch the video to learn more. And then in addition, there's projects for automating respect distribution, improving documentation for fractal tools, optimizing Optimism Fractal's UX and Fractogram's UX, improving, I put together a little feedback page at the bottom where we've been curating like threads that people made and different things like that, and also collaborations as a way to like kind of show how people are enjoying Optimism Fractal. So there's a project to improve that. There's a project to consider how we want to structure the meetings. If we want to like formalize, maybe we want to meet for an extra 20 minutes each week or something like that to discuss plans, or if we want to do another meeting or something like that, because we're kind of in an ambiguous state where we said we do it for an hour. We're going a bit longer than an hour. So maybe good to discuss that and exactly how we would decide the topics. At other Fractal meetings, we have like different systems to pick agendas and stuff like that. So we could explore that. And once again, each of them needs to have different links. I have one for improving promotions of Optimism Fractal, which I'm mostly doing with Rosmari, but if anybody wants to help with that, that's appreciated. And then explore integrations with Ethereum attestation service, creating a retroPGF UI to sort applicants by respect, and improving this Optimism Fractal Notion site. And then there's tasks for all these too. This is kind of disorganized. I don't really use tasks so much other than just having them here. So, but you can see, and maybe it's helpful for you to view it. Each one of these two you can view in different views. So you can view it by all tasks or board or by project. And similarly here, that you can also like we can create a timeline or a calendar of things that we're doing too. Right now I haven't started doing that yet, but you can check it out in board view or all view and stuff like that, and we can sort it in all sorts of different ways. And then in addition, I create a little topic section, just like topics I think are good to discuss with the community. I didn't add anything here except for just discussing this new Optimism Fractal Notion page, discussing the missions, or just bringing it up to everybody's attention in case anybody's interested in that. The Optimism Fractal consensus process, and I know we talked about seasons too, so there's just some topics. If we want to have some sort of structured way to discuss topics in the future, then this is a start of a database that we could potentially do that in. And feel free to add any topics there as well. And then I just, Rosmari organized some resources, so I just put them here, as well as this is the feedback page I was sharing before, just kind of like a disorganized place where you can see feedback from Optimism Fractal, like just keeping track of threads and timestamps of people sharing cool stuff and everything like that. And over time, we can evolve this and maybe make it into a page on Optimism Fractal's website. By the way, optimismfractal.com is also hosted on Notion. So like everything that we do, this is all Notion in the back end. So eventually we can have like a collaborative way to build this site. So far, I've just worked along with Rosmari and the Optimistics to just make this site as helpful as possible, but we can potentially have like voting to determine what's on the website and stuff like that in the future if we have enough, like if we're good enough at it. And then at the end, there's like a little just about section where people can learn more. I also try to make like cool pictures for each one too. So for example, if you go here for Optimism Fractal projects, then you could see like a nice kind of artful way with some of the cool art. But yeah, that's basically it, and go into more details about any of that. And curious to hear everybody's thoughts. And once again, everybody here is welcome to collaborate here. So if anyone wants access to it, I already gave access to Bitbeckers and Hodlon, as well as the Optimistics team. So feel free to let me know. So send me a DM with your email, and then I can give you access to comment and stuff like that. But it's already public, so you can just look at it as is too. And I shared it in the Discord chat, and I can share a link now in the Zoom chat as well.
It's all great, Dan. Thank you for putting that together.
You're welcome. Of course, I'm happy to. And thanks for the feedback, Hodlon. I was just reading the comments too. I saw Rosmari said that your thoughts on season 1 looked amazing. So yeah, thank you very much. Rosmari said that she appreciates the thoughtfulness. I don't know if you wanted to say this out loud, Rosmari. I've been speaking for kind of a while, so it might be nice to hear from more voices. But it seems like Rosmari and Tadas both liked your blog article on Gudasol, or I don't know if I should call it a blog article, but a retrospective. I'm going to read those in a moment, and then I see Gudasol is also working on a structure, a tree-based structure, project structure, with Tetra as well. So very cool to see all of the stuff that everybody's up to. And yeah, I don't know if Hodlon, you want to, you said you might jump in with some of your thoughts and reflections based upon the retrospective, or if you want to do a similar thing and like share your screen, or I don't know if Rosemary's camera's on now. Right now, she's the only person on camera. So I don't know if Rosmari, you want to share your thoughts here, or yeah, we can wrap it up whenever too. But I see Rosemary's unmuted, so why don't you go ahead, Rosmari?
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Really, even if I feel tired, for example, as I was when I joined here, it really charges me up to see the optimism and that people are really interested. Not people, just players, participants, you guys, family, friends. I feel really close because we talk a lot and I like what's happening. It charges me up really. I really don't feel tired anymore. And thank you, Dan, for working on the Notion side. I think this will really help coordinate our efforts. And I'm looking forward to reading the retrospective that Hodlon did. I've never read the retrospective before, I don't think. So it will be amazing to see and read it. And yeah, excited to be here. And sorry, Hodlon, to take the mic.
No, it's good. Thank you for sharing.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you very much, Rosmari, and glad that you're feeling energized for the group, and I am too. Hope that everybody is. I'm really stoked about how the group's been rallying together, and I'm really excited to read this article or the retrospective Hodlon. So yeah, I can't express how much I appreciate how much you've been helping out, as well as everyone else too. But really excited to look into this article. Move fast, stay comfy is your bio, which made me laugh as I just read that. And then I saw Tadas wrote, "Yep, we need to collect feedback from participants. If everyone would just write a blog post, that would be too perfect." So it made me laugh. But yeah, I agree with what Rosemary said. Appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into making the post and the feedback that you provide consistently very much. And then looking forward to learning more about. I did actually watch Gudasol. You shared a video too about the Tetra base project too. I don't know if you want to share that in the chat, or if you wanted to comment. It'd be nice to hear from you if you want to share anything. But I watched that video yesterday, and it seemed very interesting. I'm looking forward to diving more into the docs as well. So yeah, I don't know. I see Hodlon's still unmuted, so I don't know if Hodlon, you want to share any more thoughts, or we can wrap it up whenever. Or curious to hear from Bitbeckers, Das, and Vlad too.
I had a quick thought about the structure. So I'm thinking that my thoughts are that like we have the 1 hour respect game, and then it's kind of like we have more things to talk about and say afterwards that are around governance or like Optimism Fractal itself and all of that. And maybe it would be helpful to kind of like demarcate and kind of split it up. So to say like we'll play the game the first hour, and then we like wrap the game up by that first hour, and then we like move into like the second meeting. It's like, okay, people that want to stay on can stay on for like the next meeting. But I think that it can be it's just difficult when like an hour meeting suddenly consistently stretches into 90 minutes or 2 hours. It doesn't help people kind of like plan around that or whatever. So that's a thought that I had around the structure, where like we can continue going over, but instead of going over, we're actually ending one and starting another thing so that people can opt into it. And then Dan, I liked your idea, or I liked how you put using the Notion space to track things that are going on. Because I think that makes it really helpful for like people to show up and be like, oh, how can I get involved? And like there is a whole board of things that are being tracked that are going on. And I think that's important for, I don't know, just participation and transparency, allowing people to plug in. It's like one of the biggest issues that I've experienced showing up into communities and DAOs and organizations in general is like people show up and they're so excited, and then they're like, what do I do? And then people are like, I don't know, just do something. And it can turn people off a lot. And if you're like showing up to do something and then there's like nothing clearly to do, there's so much to do, but nobody knows what it is. So having that board, I think, is really useful. Yeah, I think that's
Sounds good. Well, yeah, feel free to share more if you have anything else in your mind. I saw Rosemary's giving a heart, and we got some thumbs up from Rosemary and Das before too. So I agree with everything you said there, I think. And yeah, glad you find some usefulness on the Notion page. And yeah, I think it was also partially inspired by something Bitbecker said had too, but like and just in general, just like some issues with the problems as I'm moving my chair over so I can not have to cover by this totally. And yeah, like Discord is helpful for discussing things, but sometimes I take a while to respond in Discord, and I apologize in general if I ever take a while to respond. I have lots of like messages I'm planning to send, but in a lot of ways it can be easier to just like put an idea out of Notion and then like still have it edited and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to welcome everybody to feel free to read, and then feel free to write in there and share your thoughts, or if you want to create your own page or anything like that, like you can hit slash and then page and create your own page anywhere, or create whatever page for whatever topic. So yeah, I think that can be helpful for inviting more people and giving some guidance. So when people join, they have a way that they can contribute and help and understand what's going on. And then regarding the time, I see you wrote maybe that's why the clock is ticking us now to tell us something. Wow. So maybe the clock is maybe everything happens for a reason, and it's giving us good guidance to say, well, be punctual and be timely and so forth. And yeah, that's good. That's good feedback. And yeah, it might have, for example, caught Christina by a bit of surprise that we're going a bit over too. And so we want to make sure we respect everybody's time, and we want to we learned that lesson a lot back when we were doing, as I said before, Eden Fractal for like a really long time, and it's good to have hour-long meetings or less so that everybody can like fit in their schedule. But at the same time, we do have lots of exciting stuff to talk about too, and lots of people who are interested in discussing it. Like for example, Gudasol wrote he'd be interested in the second meeting more, as he doesn't have a stake in optimism but wants to share energy with the builders in space, and this is a great place. So he said he agrees. It's close so that people want to leave can leave, maybe end the recording. He also showed the other video about the Tetra as well, which I recommend checking out. But yeah, I think, well, I mean, first up, Gudasol, and as well as anybody else who's listening who's not like directly involved with optimism, one, I would encourage you to join, and just join both events if you're available. I'm saying both events because I'm thinking maybe we should do it where like we just create another event on Luma and we have it like maybe just at the 18 UTC, or maybe there's a short break or something like that. I don't know. We could do it at a different date or time, but we could have it where like there's just like a half-hour long event or something that's right after it. I'd be curious to hear exactly how you think that should be best assigned to Hodlon about the best time. I see Bitbecker said he had to run, but thanks so much, Bitbeckers out there. And then I suppose before that, just to respond to Gudasol too, Nuno also asked a similar thing. He said like he's not helping optimism directly much or contribute to optimism much, but he is working full time in the Web3 space, and he's excited to join. And I was so happy you joined because he brought up, like said, he brought such a great attitude and enthusiasm and so forth to our room, and he was doing some really great stuff that wasn't specific to optimism, was still really helpful for everybody. And just being at Optimism Fractal was a big contribution to optimism itself. And it's a great opportunity to meet people and talk in the smaller groups and stuff like that. So of course nobody needs to join for the full time, but I certainly welcome you to join Gudasol for the first hour if you'd like, and the respect game and so forth. I mean, you can help lead people because you have experience leading Fractogram and so forth. And yeah, it could be a great way to meet with people and collaborate with people. I know Zal had reached out to you at some point, so hope that you'll find lots of collaboration value from the first part of the meeting too. And then in general, optimism, like retroPGF was just dispersed, and the community is growing a lot. There's a lot of funding opportunities and stuff like that. So even if you're not involved with optimism actively, I'd say this is a great opportunity to get involved. And then one of the things I think that just contributing to optimism, just joining Optimism Fractal meetings, is a contribution to optimism itself too, where people can get rewarded from retroPGF too. So it could be worth your time in that way, in addition to all the friendships and relationships and so forth. And OPF, I see Hodlon asked, did OPF receive any retroPGF? So the Optimistics team received from retroPGF. Yeah, I think we announced it a month ago or so, and expressed a lot of gratitude and thanks. We thought about when we were first designing it, and we discussed this at various times, like we want to figure out a way for Optimism Fractal community members to receive from retroPGF because we see like a huge synergy there. And we thought a lot about it, and what we wound up doing when we first started it was just have it where the Optimistics team, which is me, Rosmari, Tadas, and Vlad, created an application basically for creating Optimism Fractal, as well as promotions we did for Optimism with Eden Fractal and building the tools and stuff like that. And then going forward, we can figure out like the best way to help Optimism Fractal community members get earning or get funded from retroPGF. So that's something we can discuss more. But Optimism Fractal directly didn't receive retroPGF, but the Optimistics team did. And that's one of the things I had on the project about exploring ways to get funding for Optimism Fractal community members. Because generally, I don't think that Optimism Fractal should have like a treasury or something like that, that like it's receiving funds directly. And there's KYC issues with Optimism Fractal, with the Optimism Collective or the Optimism Foundation rather, and retroPGF. So I don't know how that would be designed or how that would work. And generally, I think it's better if like individuals or teams working with Optimism Fractal get funded by retroPGF rather than Optimism Fractal itself. But that's something that we can discuss to answer your question. And yeah, I see Gudasol wrote, thanks, Dan. Maybe we'll get more involved with Optimism in the future. He's got a help up, guys. Peace, guys. Good to see you all. And have a good one. He said, apologies, he couldn't be on camera, but appreciate Gudasol being here. And we've been here for 90 minutes here. Now I see Hodlons unmuted. So yeah, I suppose one thing that would be good to focus on next is just plan for these meetings, how long like we want them to be. So I think sticking with Optimism Fractal, the current event at 1 hour, and then I still think it's worthy to record it. Gudasol had mentioned maybe end the recording, but I still feel like talking and planning about like our next step is probably good to record. It can be good content and educational content for people to learn, and we can refer to it when we want to go back and listen to each other's ideas and stuff in case somebody missed the meeting. So what I'd suggest is maybe in the future, like before next week's meeting, I can just create another event on Luma, and we put that event on Luma, and maybe have it from 18 to 18:30 UTC, which is right after the respect game. And then I'll just make it clear as a host, like, and I guess everybody can make it clear that we'll end the respect game by 18 UTC, and then we'll have like a half-hour discussion, and we can call that event like Optimism Fractal Brainstorming or something like that. I'm open to different ideas too. We could also potentially do it on a different day, the brainstorming, and just stick it with an hour during the respect game and then leave. That's another option too. But it also might be helpful just to do it all at once while people are here still, so they don't have to like book another thing in their event or schedule. So yeah, that's what I would suggest right now. Like have it where we have 1 hour for Optimism Fractal and then maybe a half hour. But then again, there could be times where we don't want to discuss extra and we want to just stick it to an hour. So I'm not like totally sure, but I feel like that might be best because there's a lot of times past like 4 meetings, so we've been discussing stuff past that hour. So curious what you think about that, Hodlon or Rosmari, Vlad, and Tadas. And I see Vlad said, gonna go. Great meeting you, Hodlon. See you guys. Thanks so much, Vlad. If you want to say goodbye for everybody, then feel free. But otherwise, hope you have a great day and really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm already 4th hour in a call. I'm gonna go relax a bit.
Okay. I hope you enjoy relaxing. Thanks, Vlad.
Yeah.
Have a
Bye.
good evening.
Bye, Vlad.
Bye.
Yeah, I will be going too. Thanks for the meeting. Hope everyone have a good evening and here.
Okay, cool. Should we just wrap it up here with all of us, or
Maybe in the meeting, yes.
yeah, maybe we'll just end the meeting. If you want to stick around for 2 seconds, we say go optimism, Tadas.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, Tadas, and thanks so much to Rosmari and Hodlon. Really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back here, Optimism Fractal, next week at 17 UTC. And see you. 3, 2, 1. Go Optimism. See you there, clock. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Go clock.
Go clock. No, not the clock. The clock is getting me.
Clock is the new facilitator.
The clock is the facilitator, yeah.
Just the clock.
Yeah. Damn, clock, you got my job. All right, I'll end the recording now. Thanks, guys. Thanks all.